It's now been 27 days since the first incident of violence in Manipur where two groups clashed. In these days, several homes have been destroyed, villages burnt down and lives lost. Now, even as the central government steps in to ease tensions in Manipur, disturbing reports are now emerging of large-scale displacement of Meiteis communities moving from the hills to the valley and the Kukis moving from the valley to the hills. As an uneasy calm sets in Manipur, 11 sportspersons, including Olympian Mirabai Chanu and others, have appealed for a quick resolution. The Home Minister Amit Shah, who arrived in Manipur late last evening, has spent the day speaking to members of both communities, visiting riot-hit areas and meeting with security officials. A few crucial announcements have also been made today after those meetings to bring a sense of normalcy to this violent hit areas. For one, 10 lakh rupees compensation has been announced for the families where their kin have been killed in the violence. A helpline has been set up to quell rumors and an order issued to ensure essential services are easily available even as key highways remain blocked. But even as the hard task of repairing relationships between the two communities begins, the issue has taken a political turn, with opposition parties questioning the centre and state's handling of the entire event. Listen in.
मैं कल लेटर दिया था कि मैं मणिपुर में एक दिन के लिए जाने चाहती हूँ to meet the peace loving people. And if the army and your home ministry allow me to go, I'll be very happy. ऐसा लाइन पे कि I don't want to break the peace. I want to talk to the peace loving people and to restore the peace I want to talk. मैंने कल लेटर दिया, इसी के लिए उन्होंने आज किया. आज जाके भी वो लोगों ने जनता के साथ बात नहीं करेंगे ना.
अगर अमित शाह जी अगर ग्राउंड पे टिके हुए होते 3 या 4 तारीख में जो घटना घटा उसके बाद तुरंत घट गए होते, चले गए होते, तो आज ये दशा नहीं होती. टीके किस बात का है? वो कल पहुंचे हैं शाम को. कल भी हिंसा भयानक हुआ है, परसों भी हुआ है और लगातार चल रहा है. और इसमें टिकने का क्या? होम मिनिस्टर चाहेंगे तो नियंत्रण हो जाएगा.
तो क्या मानते हैं?
उनकी मानसिकता को निर्भर करता है. देखिए, चीफ मिनिस्टर वहाँ बैठे रहे, सारा चीज में जो नियंत्रण करना चाहिए शांति रक्षा के लिए वो कुछ नहीं किए हैं, जिसका नतीजा इतना भयानक हुआ है. आपने दोनों कम्युनिटी को एक दूसरे के विरुद्ध खड़ा कर दिया.
बिफोर ही विजिटेड अमित शाह जी मणिपुर, 40 persons were killed. It is said that all of them were terrorists. I do not know whether they were terrorists or not. Government claims like this. Manipur is burning. And this government is responsible for this. I think Amit Shah ji can't do anything. He can't solve the problems of Manipur people. He has been visiting not first time. Earlier also he had visited, and they don't have any concern for the problems of the Manipur.
इतनी मजबूत सरकार देश में है, इतने मजबूत प्रधानमंत्री है, इनके हाथ में एक राजदंड आया है कल से. गृह मंत्री भी इतने मजबूत है, अपने बड़े बड़े विरोधकों का सफाया करते हैं ईडी और सीबीआई के माध्यम से. लेकिन मणिपुर की हिंसा जो है, अगर वो ख़त्म करने हैं तो आप ग्राउंड जीरो पे जाकर बैठना पड़ेगा, उनकी बात सुननी पड़ेगी. कश्मीर में भी हिंसा है, जवानों की हत्या हो रही है आज भी. कश्मीरी पंडितों की घर वापसी अब तक नहीं हुई है. अब मणिपुर जल रहा है, तो आप कौन सा राज शकट चला रहे हो?
It is unfortunate that the communal different section of the people in Manipur are fighting each other and they are killing each other. When BJP entered there, they started to divide the Meiteis and other section, because they know everywhere they are only way to divide people for electoral gain, and they did it. But only after 15 days, when doing all this drama in different parts of the country, completion of the drama, they promised such time to go there.
So as the politics brews, the scale of human suffering is becoming more and more evident. Times Network correspondent Aishwarya is in Imphal, reporting from the ground, and visited a relief camp earlier today, as well as other parts of Manipur. Listening to some of those reports.
To prevail peace in the state of Manipur, Home Minister Amit Shah had arrived for a 3-day visit over here. And as we came outside the Imphal airport, we can see these mega posters of Amit Shah welcoming him, but also it has been categorically written, we want peaceful coexistence in Manipur. We have seen that how Home Minister Amit Shah concluded several of the meetings with top officials as well as the Chief Minister of Manipur. He had also a long meeting with the Governor of Manipur as well. And there had been several appeals that have been made to prevail peace. Now, these visuals also describes how the city is going through. Only emergency services, which includes medical stores and other essential commodity shops are open. Rest all the shops are currently closed, and all the roads are completely have been cordoned off by the police, as the curfew have been imposed in the entire city of Imphal and the state of Manipur as well. But as we came outside the Imphal airport, there had been several security checks that we went through as well, and we submitted our identification to the police forces as they can keep a tab on whosoever is been coming from different locations to Imphal.
पहले ऐसे अचानक बंदूक चलाने किया, आग जलाने किया, हाथ से फोन छिला, सब कुछ वो लोग किया। तब तो हम लोग डर कर वजह से उसका हथियार है वो लोग हाथ में, तो हम लोग हाथ में तो कुछ नहीं है। तब हम लोग कैसे उस लोग के सामने कैसे खड़ा होके रहेगा हम लोग, इसलिए हम लोग घर से सब भाग के बाहर में आया.
So it's really emotional because we doesn't have any protection from the government and the state, and we really want to condemn about our places, our final settlement. How long are we going to live here? We are not here to eat the free food that the government is providing us.
अपना जान बच गया तो हो क्या करके भाग के आ गया. ये होता है क्या ऐसा? ये पहला बार में भी हम लोग इंडिया गवर्नमेंट ने सरकार को भी बोला हम लोग को भी सिक्योरिटी रखो, ये ऐसे होते रहता तो हम लोग को बचना नहीं है. ये बात सुनता नहीं है. अभी ये इस बार भी ऐसे होता है. हम लोग कब तक ऐसे देगा यहाँ में?
If you can just state us the facts of how many people have been shifted from there and the detention numbers.
Okay. So the current situation in Imphal district is comparatively better than the previous days. Situation is quite normal, as you must have also seen. We have had a number of relief camps in the past few days, and the number keeps fluctuating. So as of now, we have around 42 relief camps which are functional in the district, and before that, even the number went up to 77 at one point of time.
Curfew imposed in the entire state of Manipur as well as Imphal as well. How the relief measures have been provided?
The number of persons who are in the relief camps, since they're quite high, we are like focusing on meeting their daily requirements, like first fooding. We are focusing on fooding. The district administration through the subdivisional officers have been providing dry ration and also like dry ration. Then as per assessment, and then we have also been providing bedding arrangements. Also, we have also been trying to provide clothing, like new clothes, at least an extra pair of clothes for the persons who are in the relief camps.
The central leadership is here in Imphal to take care of the law and order situation prevailing in the entire state. Union Home Minister Amit Shah is also here. How do you see the current law and order situation as far as Imphal is concerned and the nearby adjoining areas are? Is everything under control and the relief measures are on work?
Almost everything is under control as of now in the district. But however, there have been instances of firing also at the periphery villages. That is also under enough security forces have been deployed by the government.
क्योंकि आप बोल रहे हैं 700 लोगों की यहाँ पे फैसिलिटी है, रोज कितने लोग यहाँ पर आते हैं अलग अलग जगहों से, क्योंकि उन लोगों के घर उजड़ गए हैं, कहीं पर आग लग गई है, कहीं पर उनकी दुकानों को जला दिया गया है. किस तरीके की समस्याएं उन लोगों को हैं और कितने लोग लगभग रोज आ जाते हैं?
यहाँ का इनमें तो लगभग 700 हो गया, और वो लोग का यहाँ जो रिलेटिव्स है वो वो लोग आता है, कभी कभी वो लोग का जो जरूरत चीज़ों है वो लोग के ऑनलाइन डिमांड पर वो लोग लाता है, देता है, और मैक्सिमम लोग तो वो लोग का सामान ये सब पैसा वगैरह वगैरह तो जल गया। यहाँ जो है वो लोग इंतजार कर रहे हैं गवर्नमेंट का फाइनल सेटलमेंट, वही वो लोग का सपना है, वो ये कब खेल खत्म होगा। ये हम लोग का पूरा विश्वास है, और हमारा विश्वास है कि हमारा ऑनरेबल होम मिनिस्टर अमित शाह जी हम लोग का ये समस्या को जल्द से जल्द सॉल्व हो जाएगा।
I don't know how to report how much problem, how much I don't know how to say how much we are facing in words, and how to say I don't know. And the final settlements, everything we are facing here is more than enough.
It clearly describes that how the entire school was burned down. Which place in Manipur this school is located, and at what time you got to know that something of sort is happening? Was there anyone during that time when the people came in and burnt your school? How did you get to know?
It was on 27th of May. It might be around 2 p.m. something like that. I can't remember. I don't remember the exact timing, but there was a call from one of my friends' colleagues that it's burning. So we went there, and we saw the houses, that schools that has been burned, and we could not go there as they have well-armed this militant people is there, so we cannot go inside there. And from our village, it's around 1.5 kilometers away. So we don't have any option other than just look and watch.
Because in the footage that we can see clearly, they have been armed, and several people have coming. If you can see the video, several people were armed and they were throwing some oil.
I don't think that's a village people. So because I'm very much sure that they won't burn my school, because their kids are studying there, and we have been living together since 3 to 4 years back, and we are always keep in touch. We were very close, so they have a full confidence on us, and we have full confidence to them also.
आप लोग अभी गृह मंत्री अमित शाह से यहाँ पर मिले, क्या कुछ आप लोगों ने उनसे बातचीत करी, उन्होंने क्या कुछ कहा, आपका क्या डिमांड्स थी उन लोगों ने?
वो भी इमा मार्केट का डिमांड है, वो भी मणिपुर का कुकी सू मिलिटेंट से सू नहीं चाहिए, सू बंद करो। वो भी मणिपुर में एनआरसी चाहिए, एसटी चाहिए। ये मणिपुर का सेपरेट एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव तो आया था, नहीं चाहिए, वो भी बंद करो। वो मणिपुर में चवन में खाना पीना में सब बने हैं ना ब्लॉकेट में, ये खोलो।
आपको मिलकर लगा कि अब मणिपुर में चीजें जल्दी से जल्दी सुधर जाएंगी, हालात काबू में आ जाएंगे, यहाँ पे पीस प्रिवेल होगा?
वो पीस तो चाहिए ना, वो भी पीस चाहिए। पीस तो सरकार में जल्दी में काम करेगा, पीस आया था। वो भी काम तो धीरे धीरे तो चलते हैं ना, का शांति नहीं है।
So, some really moving and detailed ground reports there from Imphal, giving you a sense of the scale of the human tragedy as well. Nearly 70 refugee camps at one point. So what is the path to peace in this strife-torn zone? To speak more on this, I'm joined today by some of my guests who have been tracking this story very closely. Kham Khan Swan Housing is joining me. He's head of Department of Political Science at the University of Hyderabad. I'm talking with Dr. Haokip today, who's a former journalist and assistant professor, Center for the Study of Law and Governance. Swati Malik, spokesperson of the Congress Party, also with me on the show. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us today. Dr. Haokip, let me begin by understanding from you why the situation has deteriorated to this extent. I mean, we know the story, we know the timeline as we read them in facts, that there was a High Court order and then one incident of violence and then blew out of proportion. But can you give us some context to the scale of violence that we're currently seeing and why it still continues nearly a month later?
Let me begin by looking back into the timeline. On 5th May, the government of Manipur was, making a statement that unless arms and ammunitions that were looted from police stations and police training centers were, recovered within 48 hours, they will declare or they will recommend president's role. But till today, 3 days back, there were more looting of arms or, in other times, handing over of arms and ammunitions to certain radical groups has been happening from the, Manipur rifle camps, 2 of them, and we also have the IRB. So when arms are proliferating among common people who are, now radicalized, how do you say that, how do you move toward peace? So we have been recommending that there should be a president's role, and that was the commitment of the government of Manipur unless they recover the arms and ammunition. And that did not happen. And the violence continued to spread, violence continued to escalate after rastic peace for a few weeks. So, the point is that, you need to have a neutral forces in this stage so that there is confidence building measures between communities who are fighting all over, for the last almost 1 month. So this doesn't happen. And till today, you would see that there are burning of houses, attacks, killings happening even in the evening of today. So this will continue. And Amit Shah is saying that he will come back again next month to look into the situation, to take stock of the situation, and to look into the demands by various groups. So this doesn't, bring peace. So in order to restore peace, certain semblance of, a trust has to be built with the armed forces. You have been observing how many are claiming that the commandos and Manipur police has been used to attack tribal villages in the periphery. So these kind of allegations, this kind of, insecurity among the tribals, or the use of armed forces in the, in arson and other kind of, an instrument of domination has to stop.
Okay, so, some shocking sort of information which is coming out as we track this story, which we need to understand why this is happening. Professor Swan, let me come to you on this. For example, there are reports of not once but several times of state armories being looted and arms from state armories being looted. It's difficult to understand how that could happen anywhere where a state armory is just looted by people. And second, there's another report that there are over 1,000 automatic weapons with people in Manipur. People are civilians, are fairly armed. Why is that the case? And isn't that setting the stage for this kind of violence?
Yeah, precisely. If you look at the number of police police stations which are susceptible to not looting as such, but where the police station officers handed over substantial arms as well as ammunition to the ragtag mobs as well as armed militants. You have major concentration of this police station in the valley areas, as it were. So in one police training center alone in Pangai, it is reported that more than 100 automatic rifles had been handed over to the already armed ragtag mobs. So in that sense, I think the specter of violence and the viscerality and the lethality of this violence has multiplied beyond belief. And as we speak, you have ground reports coming in from the Suknu areas where the police commandos in cahoots with some of these organized armed groups are throwing bombs, selling mortars, and using drones, as it were. So I think the situation seems to be spiraling out of control with every passing day. And until and unless the state government steps down,
just to understand, may I ask? You said
the way up now. I do not know, how the central government and Home Minister, in effect, should not take cognizance of the ground reports that he received from Churachandpur today. He should have immediately asked the central to impose president rule, because Biren Singh government has completely lost trust as well as legitimacy, and there is a complete breakdown of law and order in the state.
Now, Professor Swan, I just a quick follow-up. You said that arms are not being looted from these police stations, they are being given. Why would police officers give their arms?
I see. You see, in order to understand this, you have to know the institutionalized ecosystem within which these riotings, as well as state complicitly sponsored violence happened. And this is the institutional ecosystem in which all these armed organizational leaders, especially proscribed organization, out of the 7 proscribed organization in Manipur, 6 are based in the valley, right? So given that they already have very complex network of collusion with the state officials and the bureaucratic nexus, which is deeply corrupt and which is already deeply communalized, you could well see how, instead of looting this police station, it is simply by pressure, mounting on pressure on these police station officers, that literally it is handing out of or doling out of ammunitions as well as arms to these ragtag mobs who are marionettes of the majoritarian government, which in effect preside over this political dispensation today.
Okay. This has also become a political story. There is no doubt questions being raised on the handling of the entire issue by the Biren Singh government. Swati Malik, the Congress has asked for a probe. They've gone to the president asking for a probe. Is this not fishing in troubled waters, considering that this state does have a very complex history of strife between communities?
Tamanna, you are right. The state does have a complex history, and that is why the central government had to be more vigilant about it. Why, there is no explanation given. Why did they have to wait for almost 3 weeks? It started on 3rd of May, 3rd, 4th of May, correct? But why did we have to wait for 3 weeks to take some sort of an action? Why has the Home Minister only taken cognizance of the fact that there is trouble there only now? And our Prime Minister is still quiet. He's completely mute. He has still not spoken about it. Home Minister has taken 3 weeks. What does that show? That only shows that this whole, there's the lack of intent. Now, he's gone there for 3 days. He's saying he will come back after a month. That's what I heard on your report. But where is the intent? What is it? What is the roadmap? There is no roadmap that he's even shown today. He's gone there. He's held a few meetings. Whereas what the Congress has requested the president in our representation is that please, first of all, just take hold of the violence, stop it where it is. There are hundreds of people, more than 100 people who died. There are 45,000 people who are at shelter homes. And these shelter homes, I must remind you, are not all run by government. They are run by, private like NGOs and entities. That is what is helping these shelter homes. So what we have asked the president is to, of course, imply the president to stop the violence wherever whatever stage it is right now. Stop it right here. Please talk about rehabilitation of these people who've been displaced out of their homes. Please take a count of missing persons and start searching for those people. There is no roadmap. There is no plan that the BJP has shown, that the central government has shown. I will even not make it about BJP here. I'll talk about central government and state government. So the whole, the central government has failed to show any kind of support to the state out there. The people, from not only in shelter, those 45,000 people in shelter homes, people are also going to neighboring states. People are going to Mizoram, Tripura. That's what they're looking for shelter.
What I find particularly alarming is because there is, I'm saying this with the best of intent, but because there is a lack of understanding across the rest of the country of the intricacies and details of what happens and why it's happening in Manipur and the context of Manipur, this entire issue is being portrayed on religious lines. And I find that absolutely ridiculous and shocking. These are very, very complex issues. Jaideep Mazumdar on the show, author and columnist. Jaideep, welcome to the show. Just, your take of what has led to this solution and what is the path to peace. Today, questions are being asked of the state government. Were they caught napping?
It's a very complicated issue out there, and this is not the first time that such clashes have taken place. If I would go back to, say, the Kuki Naga clashes of 1992-93, and mind you, in all those clashes, the death toll has been far, far higher than what it is now. That time in 1992-93, there were 230 lives, more than that, lost. The Kuki Paite clashes in 1997-98. 352 dead. The the Meitei Pangal clashes, over 100 died. So Manipur is a very, very complex state, and it's very I think convenient to blame the center, blame the state government. Of course, the state government is to be blamed because there obviously has been a lack of intelligence. There has been intelligence failure, and the situation is definitely not desirable. But my understanding of the situation is that the fault lines, the ethnic fault lines, run very deep. The immediate provocation was, apart from the court ruling about the ST status for Meiteis, there was also action by the state government on clearing encroachment of forests, cracking down on poppy cultivation, etc., which led to a series of protests, and ultimately it broke out, it erupted into a mayhem. Having said that, after that, there was again obviously a lack of failure on the part of the state government. And as one of your panelists said, it is shocking that crowds could go and loot the armories. This is not.
Yes.
It is not.
No, and it's such a heavily armed populace. It's such a heavily armed populace.
But let me tell you, let me just remind you about this. This is, again, I'll say, nothing new. During the Kuki Naga clashes, most people will not remember this. During the Kuki Naga clashes in 1992-93, there was a Nagaland Armed Police Battalion posted, which was posted, brought to Manipur. And the entire battalion defected or joined the NSC and IM, led by the commandant of the battalion. Can you beat that? So this is also happened.
Wow. Okay, so Swati Malik responds to that it's a little unfair to blame without context the current government, because this is a problem which has lasted for a long time. Why would you say that there was mishandling now?
Tamanna, that's why when I started, I said, of course, there is history, and that's why the center had to be more vigilant. The state government had to be more vigilant. So this is lack of, why did they have to wait for 2 weeks? With all due respect to Mr. Mazumdar, there is no explanation for the center to wait for 3 weeks, to wait and watch what's going wrong there. Let's watch them burn, and then we will come to rescue. Why wait? That is what my question is. That is what we are asking. So the lack of intent, the trust deficit that has been created, not just between the state government and the people out there, but also between the state government and the central government. Why did the center not step in earlier, is my question. It is not about the history. We are aware that, yes, it is a complex state, and there is a very sensitive issue.
That is a fair point. Why did the center not step in earlier? More and more, sort of distrust has been created, and now reports of actually displacement of people. Yes, Mr. Mazumdar, you want to come in?
I think it's absolutely unfair to say that the center did not step in immediately. On the 4th of May, the army was deployed. Article 355 was promulgated. Kuldeep Singh was appointed as a security advisor, and the center intervened directly. The intervention of the center does not mean that the Prime Minister or the Home Minister goes to the state and camps there.
Okay, Professor Swan wants to come in. Yes, Professor.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that expert like Zaidi would take in the government propaganda machine that Article 355 was imposed. It was a blatant lie that was spread around in order to mislead the national opinion, which was brewing up in Karnataka election. Article 355 has never been imposed in Manipur. And this is one of the way in which the central government also play its political gamble. And I fail to understand why in today's meeting, the stakeholders in Lamka and Churachandpur districts are, asked to wait for another 15 days. Is this another instance where the central government give political messaging to the state government to do what they like? Is it a kind of a free right given to them to set up, a political endgame where a brutal, a very nasty offensive strike is being now unraveled in the hill areas? I fail to understand that that's precisely the point that in all this violence, let us remember that unlike the past conflict between the Naga and Kukis, which has often been invoked and drawn comparison about, I think it is distinctly different this time because the kind of parallel that we should be drawing at is to compare this recent institutionalized riot system with Nelly massacre in Assam, with a different things because religiosity, which was very markedly present in Nelly massacre is not here, or in the latest round of Godhra massacre that happens. It is a clear-cut state program that is unleashed against a particular targeted communities. Let us not be mistaken and misguided by all this false propaganda that the state government released.
That's a big charge. That's a big charge, Professor Swan. That's a big charge you're making at a very sensitive time.
Epicenter of false propaganda. You read it, and it has been widely circulated.
No, that's 1 minute, 1 minute. That's a big charge you're making, Professor Swan, at a big time. No, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Professor Swan, you are making a very serious charge. I must intervene here. You are making a very serious charge. I must intervene here. What are you basing that on? What are you basing that on? Because action has been taken over the last few days.
Reports there, you'll see ample evidence of mortar that is used, where the police commando, in effect, would lead, a range of, armed mobs in thousands now, and they are selling mortars at innocent villagers. And the kind of reporting that we have extensively in Metro-based newspaper is that, these are rather offensive strike from the hill community. So it's totally false. I think we should not fall trap to this type of misleading, very distorted.
Now, I think on a sensitive issue like this, we will have to wait for verified reports that, and what the government is saying that we can bank on. Remember, the attempt now is to find a path to peace. We have to find a path to peace, please. Yes, 1 minute. Dr. Haokip coming in. Can we hear Dr. Haokip, please? Yes.
Okay, yeah. I would like to verify Dr. Professor Swan's claim that, my village, in the periphery of Imphal has been bombarded with 2-inch mortar yesterday. I called my family members that they can't even stay. The small village resistance that has been there, they can't even stand those bombardment from the, the microwave center, the IRB that has been stationed there. They bombarded my village, and they can't even stand. People have to run to the forest to save their lives. And those village guards probably who might be killed in some other places were branded as terrorists by the chief minister. When you have such chief minister who are, standing for just one community, how can you rule this multi-ethnic state? So it's the chief minister has to step down immediately, and president rule has to be imposed so that some kind of trust, semblance of dialogue can occur in this state. So, we have ample proof regarding those conversations between, the army,
I think no one is denying the extent and scale of violence, which is why we're putting the focus on this story, and we're keeping the focus on this story. And this is the second consecutive day that we're keeping the focus on the story.
You see, we should not buy and purchase everything that the chief minister says, because the chief minister's office has now transformed, very unfortunately, into the epicenter of false propaganda.
No, fair enough. And I don't think any carte blanche is being given to any statement which is made. But the only point I'm making is we should be very measured with the claims we make at a time when tempers are high. Because the ultimate goal, which I think everyone agrees on, is to find a path to peace. That's my limited point. Yes, Mr. Mazumdar.
Here you are hearing one narrative. If you ask the Kukis, they'll definitely say that what Dr. Haokip has been saying. that it is armed groups of Meitei, radical Meitei organizations helped by the Manipur commandos, police commandos, who are attacking Kuki villagers, bombarding them, etc. You ask the Meiteis, they will say it is the Kuki militants who are killing the Meitei villagers in areas of mixed population in the periphery of Imphal Valley. And they will say, like, they will also tell you that here are the injuries sustained by Meiteis. How did they sustain those injuries? They didn't shoot themselves. Kuki, but again, the Kuki organizations will say there are no Kuki militants. So let us wait for the whole thing to clear down. The army operations are on, the Assam Rifles is on the field, so is the CRPF. I think we'll have some clarity after a few days. I mean, if Kuki militants were involved, how the arms were looted, of course, that's a fact. I mean, no one can deny it, and that's condemnable. I mean, it's horrific that this has happened. It can't happen in any state. In fact, I would say that the Manipur police commandos who are responsible for it should be dismissed from service. I mean, you can't allow your service weapon to be looted. No soldier allows that.
No, okay. So once again, there has been massive loss, life, safety, property on all sides. Violence doesn't spare anyone, especially at this scale. The question is, what are we doing about it? Swati Malik, I want to come back to you on what is the path to peace?
Tamanna, first of all, like we requested the president, there should be a high-level, inquiry commission set up so that we actually, the experts who are sitting there, and this should be done under supervision of a retired Supreme Court judge, just to add trust deficit, which has been, just to, reduce the trust deficit out here. So there should be a commission under a retired Supreme Court judge who will look into this, who will hold meetings. The commission will consist of experts who can give advice better than all of us sitting here, because they will know the local issues. They will know how to work on with the communities who are at dispute out here. So that is the way forward. We cannot put down one community against the other either. I'm not supporting any of them. I'm supporting the state. So that's how the government should also look at it. How do we resolve the solution? Not how do we aggravate this fight?
No, and even if there is a perception, right or wrong, that the government has acted in a partisan way or has not acted on time, then that needs to be addressed. Even if it's a perception, that needs to be addressed quickly. And I think a very important statement or decision made today is to nip in the bud the rumors. There's a helpline to quell rumors. There will be action taken against false rumor mongering, and that's important as well. I think everyone's on the same page that we do want peace to return quickly and some of these very frayed relationships to mend. Thank you to all of you for joining us on The Lead Story this evening. I'm taking